Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Upwave Customer Showcase. I'm Chris Kelly, Upwave's founder and CEO, and I'm thrilled today to be joined by Rohan Castelino, the CMO at Iris TV. Rohan, welcome to Upwave Customer Showcase.
Uh, Thanks. Great to be here.
Well, we're great to have you. I know we've enjoyed working with Iris for years and excited to share your work with our audience. So, why don't you start by telling us about Iris for those who might be listening and not familiar with Iris TV?
Yeah. Iris TV is a content data marketplace that enables buyers and sellers to target and measure ad campaigns based on the specific types of content an ad runs adjacent to. And this is important because today the smart TV is the most valuable screen in the house. But unlike a mobile device, we don't know who's watching. So, in the era of CTV, identity data might get you through the front door, but as we say, Iris TV gets you to the couch. And this is because we offer real-time data about the contextual, emotional, and brand suitability of what viewers are watching in real time, which enables advertisers to place ads when they are most likely to watch, remember, and convert. We were acquired by Viant Technology at the end of last year and operate as independent subsidiary and continue to work as a neutral data platform with sellers, buyers, data providers, and app platforms of all shapes and sizes.
That's great, and congratulations to both parties on the acquisition. And Upwave was particularly excited to see that because we had the privilege of working with Iris and your advertisers and Viant and their advertisers for a while. So we, like the rest of the market, we were excited to see that merger. I know that will unlock a lot of opportunities. So
Yeah,
we'd
we're
love to hear your perspective, the voice of advertisers in all this. So you started to get into it, but we'd love to have you share with our audience how advertisers are asking you about driving outcomes. Upwave is brought in to measure the upper funnel outcomes, which I know Iris is great at delivering upper funnel outcomes and outcomes at every step of the funnel. So, can you say more about what advertisers are asking of you when they come to you and say, "Help us drive more outcomes at every step of the funnel"?
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to the streaming era, CTV offers a medium that pairs the high impact and brand building awareness of linear TV with the accountability, targeting, and feedback loop of lower funnel digital media. So there's a lot of pressure to make every dollar count.
Yeah.
The challenge is though that the CTV supply chain is complex, it's fragmented, so it really makes it difficult to buy media, reach viewers at scale, and target them accurately. So, as I mentioned earlier, like unlike a mobile device, which is personalized to each viewer, smart TVs and connected devices are shared in the household.
Yeah.
And so capturing viewer attention in CTV is especially challenging. And in 2023, we sponsored eye tracking research that revealed that viewers are 4 times more likely to tune out ads they perceive as irrelevant. So
Oh,
whether
wow.
you're trying to increase awareness or drive store visits and sales, it's increasingly important to not only reach the right household, but engage the right viewer at the right moment. I think I'm going to butcher this quote, but I think Teddy Roosevelt said, if you grab them by the eyeballs, their hearts and minds will follow.
That's good. When in doubt, attribute something to Roosevelt. That's always a safe play. No, that's great. Great context, and I know there's been a lot of success with advertisers using that technology to get that attention and deliver those upper funnel outcomes, which of course leads to future success down the funnel. So, we'd love to double click into some specifics on that. So, many of our viewers might have seen that Iris and Upwave recently published a report talking about some examples of the brand building power of contextual targeting on CTV. And we're happy to share the report for our viewers and make sure they can see it in detail. But to walk through some of the broad strokes, we'd love to hear you tell us some of what we learned from that report we did together, Rohan.
Yeah, so I think when you think about the growth of contextual targeting in CTV, contextual I think began more as like a secondary signal as a way to kind of overcome some of the headwinds like we discussed, signal loss, privacy, regulations, transparency, fragmentations, et cetera. But as we saw from the report, it's looking to be a pretty effective primary signal because part of the key things that it reveals is that when you contextually align content to what viewers are watching in real time, which is kind of a different approach than how content-based targeting has worked in the past. Typically, things like ACR are historical signals, so that somebody, if you want to target sports or anime or video games, it would rely on the knowledge that somebody in the house watched that at some point, as opposed to, and the ad might not play when it's anime. It could be watching during, sports, or it could be during the news. Whereas this methodology puts the ad when the viewers are watching that relevant content in real time. So the great aspect of that is that when you're dealing with the headwinds of CTV, trying to get viewer attention, this allows the advertiser to really kind of get they hit that right moment. And as the report shows, we were able to see that the benchmarks of the iris enabled data, the campaigns kind of outperformed the CTV benchmarks by a considerable margin, right? 2x higher lift in awareness, 3x higher lift in ad recall, and 5x higher lift in favorability, which are kind of key metrics that are going to determine those lower funnel outcomes that you want to see. Do people remember the ad and they have a favorable opinion of what they saw? Because sometimes when you misalign an ad to the context, you might get a negative outcome as opposed to the target. So you might hit the right household, you might even be in market, but if they're not in the right mood, you're going to see a negative outcome. And this report shows that, validates that across the board. When you do, real-time contextual matching, you see higher lift.
Yeah, no, it's incredible to see how effective the portfolio of Iris campaigns were. Not just one campaign as an outlier, but really all the portfolio that we were able to look at. And that 5x lift in favorability over the Upwave tactic norms for CTV, I thought really was astounding performance and speaks to the power of the technology. So that is great, and glad more and more advertisers are able to take advantage of that. And we have taken advantage of our partnership with Iris to tell advertisers the power of measurement with contextual. So we'll love to speak to that partnership for a bit and have you share some of the benefits you've seen from investing in measuring upper funnel outcomes with Upwave.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, first and foremost, right, the ability to assess campaign performance against key industry benchmarks and tactical benchmarks has been a really great way for us to immediately show the clients the effectiveness of the data as a solution. And then
Yeah.
I think in any sort of ongoing relationship you have with a partner, you want to be able to provide genuine insight, knowledge, and new things so that they can kind of refine their strategy or better understand how they can calibrate their strategy and tactics. So the granular insights, the KPIs, and the ability to cut by varying dimensions, by age, gender, demographics has often helped a lot of our clients who are sometimes in highly kind of regulated industries that they don't have the ability to target specifically. They gain new insight on who's actually resonating with their brand across those key brand metrics. And that's kind of helped
Yeah.
them to recalibrate and work with us even more to explore how they can use contextual and other tactics to drive upper funnel outcomes in CTV.
Yeah, that's great. I think you're speaking to actionable insights and not just seeing some statistic about the campaign, but using it to edit the campaign and drive more upper funnel outcomes with that contextual targeting. So that's something that's top of mind for every advertiser to use that to drive more top of funnel impact. So we love hearing that, and we know the advertisers listening will as well. Well, thank you for joining us today, Rohan. We appreciate you walking us through the technology of Iris TV and the success you've had building upper funnel outcomes for advertisers and agencies. And I know our audience will appreciate this insight.
Thanks. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you.